All right, welcome back, Magineers. I'm Francisco. Here we are once again back playing Junkyard Juggernauts, a fantasy adventure game where you're building a juggernaut, freeing the land from the warlord that you have to defeat. Glad to be back. When last we were playing, we went over the setup and building your juggernaut, salvaging the parts for it, and then we started the camping action. We had a Riviera take a quest, which she had to give up, and she didn't have to, but if they're teaming up if she's teaming up with Hobart, she had to give it up, and Hobart augmented. So we still haven't seen the Patrolling the Bounds part of the camp acronym, which, again, after you travel, you get to choose whether you're going to complete a quest, that's the C, augment your juggernaut, that's the A, meet the locals, that's the M, and patrol the bounds is the P. So you choose one of those after you travel. So in this turn, when last we left, both our players went to the city of Swift, where currently a Junk Golem is enslaving the city. So they're going to go and fight it. So for a city, if it is enslaved by a Junk Golem, you must combat the Junk Golem for your camp. Slaying it earns you a heroic feat, and that's more on in the rules what that entails. So we're going to go into that, and so you can see what combat in Junkyard Juggernauts is like. Now, keep in mind that I have not stacked this deck at all. It's still how we shuffled it before in the previous play. So it may be sometimes when you get a Juggernaut, and we'll show this up here in a second, they could be really weak, they could be strong. It all depends. Keep in mind also that the Junk Golems their overall power can be increased based on the Warlord power multiplier right here, which currently it's set to 1. So any Junk Golem we face or Patrol the Bounds beast we face, all their metal will be multiplied by 1. But the next one we fight, it'll be 2, then 3. Alright, so we're at Swift. Let's make a Junk Golem. Okay, so how you do that is you take the card first off. Then we're going to set it up. So it gets a 1 potion because Warlord power multiplier is at 1. So on all the cities, there's a Junk Golem little token like this, and on the other side is a potion. So usually, if for the first Junk Golem, they can always just take this 1 potion. If you need another potion for the Junk Golems, like if this were to be set to 2, and so they would start with 2 potions, then you would just take a disable token and give that to them as a potion. But in this case, this Junk Golem only gets 1 potion to start with. And now we're going to flip over cards from the draw pile to create its limbs. I'm going to move these 2 out of the way real quick. So first, and you can build the Junk Golem somewhere else on the table. It doesn't have to be on the map. This is just so that you can see it best. This is where I'm putting it. So first you're going to draw for the legs of the Junk Golem, and we get, alright, oh no, now this isn't too bad, but we get a wind 1/3 limb. So we're going to place that as its legs right there. Going to scooch this a little bit so we're not touching the disable tokens. Alright, there we go. Because this is the wind Junk Golem, or it's fine in the Wind City. It gets wind its association is wind. So any limbs that we draw that are also wind will get to start off with their upgrade amounts for the amount of metal this Junk Golem gets. Otherwise, it'd be the base level. Because these are both wind, we will have 3 metal for the speed of this Junk Golem. On top of that, if we bring this up here, each Junk Golem has its own sort of special abilities. It has a special, but I mean, it also has sort of like a buff just to start off. So for this one, the Junk Golem gets 2 times to its leg metal. So that's one thing which we're going to do in a second. Also, I want to point out that it is immune to shock negative effect charges. So that means if Hobart were to put his shock charge on this Junk Golem, it wouldn't do anything. So that's not great. Okay, but 3 was what we got for it being an upgrade amount, but because of this ability, it now gets another 3 because it gets double speed. So it has 6 speed. I'm just using the clear cubes metal. That's how we can track the metal for these enemies. Put this back on it. Then we'll do the arm. So, and you could do either arm, it doesn't matter. So for the first arm, it gets a 1, and if you're not sure which side's the arm, which side's the leg, there's a little pointer that says A, points at the arm, and then this one is an L that points up at the leg. So if you're not sure which one's which, I mean, obviously wheels, you probably assume that's legs, but some of the cards are a little ambiguous, so that's how you can tell. So we'll have one arm here. The water does not match wind, so it will only get 1 metal for this arm. And then for the other arm, it has also 1. So this is a substantially weak Junk Golem, which will take hardly anything to beat. But you'll get to see very rudimentary combat, which will probably be over pretty quickly, and sort of what happens when certain actions and amplifies occur. But let's get 1 metal for this arm. All right, so if we were to calculate this Junk Golem is will be attacking us. We'll have an attack strength of 2 for the 2 metals and a speed of 6. All right, so now we get to determine who, since we were teamed up together, both Hobart and Riviera are at the same spot fighting this Junk Golem, who gets to attack first, and that is dictated by the speed of the players. So Riviera still has a speed of, I believe it's, if I can look across, 5 plus 6, 11, versus, which is interesting because I thought she had a higher speed before, but let's see, 7, but it dropped down to 6. 6 plus 5, yeah, 11. And then Hobart has a speed of 10. 6 plus 4. So Riviera will get to decide what to do first. All right, and she has these amplify cards, so during combat, first you decide who's the first attacker. This time it's Riviera. Then Hobart will get to go, and then who is ever defending the roles will flip. The attackers become the defenders, and the defender becomes the attacker, and so on. But when you're the attacker, you get to decide if you want to play an amplify card. Let's see. We have Mage Stone Alchemy, which would be a great card to play because essentially we get to destroy any one limb of any owner's, essentially any limb. It could be our own limb or the limb of our opponent. Now you may ask, why would I want to destroy my own limb? That's weird. Well, because the owner gets 1d6 number of potions. So if you're ever like, I really need potions badly, I'm willing to sacrifice one of my own limbs, it's almost destroyed it's almost dead anyway, let me go ahead and do that and I'll get some potions out of the deal. At least 1, up to 6 though. And in addition to this, because it's Riviera, we'll get to use some amplifies. However, or we'll do some amplify rolls. However, I keep in mind that if I use this amplify effect, it will trigger 2 amplify rolls for me, 1 for Riviera, 1 for this water leg I have. It will trigger no amplify rolls for Hobart, because he has no water limbs. And it will trigger 1 amplify roll for the Junk Golem, because it has 1 water limb. So I may want to do that. I certainly don't want to use mine not today. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's do an amplify effect just so you can see how that works. So because this is a blue or a water amplify effect, I'm going to trigger it by facing it with the amplify reading like this. I'm going to place it in my used amplify card pile. If this was not water, let's say this was the same but the fire version of it, and I played it, because I'm Riviera and not Saffron, who's the fire mageneer, this would go into the junk pile. But Because it matches me, it will come back into my hand after combat. So I will place it there. So the Amplify now has surged water magic throughout the kingdom. So everyone, even if they're non-combat, other players that have water limbs will be able to roll if an Amplify effect. I'm going to place this just over here. That's Saffron's. So first we're going to roll for Riviera's limb and herself. Because she's the water mage junior, she gets to roll an extra one for herself. So we'll roll 2 dice for Riviera. And we get the worst roll. 2 1s. My goodness. All right, so you may be asking, why is that so bad? Well, if we look on our Amplify chart, and this is also in the rule book, but if you roll a 1, so every time you do an Amplify roll, you choose one result using the key below. A roll of a 1 means you disable a limb. A roll of 2 means you get 2 potions. A roll of 3 means you get to restore an Amplify card. So let's say I was fortunate enough to roll a 3, then I get to put this Amplify card right back into my hand right away, as opposed to waiting until the end of combat. So that'd be the 1, or the 3, excuse me. A roll of 4 would mean I would get to just get 4 metal right off the bat. A roll of 5 would mean I would get to get a shield, one of these shields. And a roll of 6 would mean I get to draw an Amplify card, or I get to just draw a card. So because I have to choose one result, I now have to disable one of my limbs. So I'm going to choose this, just going to take one of the disable tokens, and I get to pick for the Amplify disable, I get to pick which limb. So I'm going to disable my arm, whoops. And you can put the disable on the arm itself or on the metal for it. I tend to put it on the metal just to remind myself, oh yeah, I can't do damage with that. So my right arm for Riviera's Twig Junk Golem is disabled because of that Amplify roll. Now we go on to, all the Amplify rolls happen first before whatever this effect is triggered. So let's say I'm doing a Mage Stone Alchemy, I'm going to destroy this arm. They still get to do their roll before the effect takes place. So it's going to get to roll, and they roll a 5, which means they get a shield, this Junk Golem. So this Junk Golem went from being a complete pushover to being a little bit more tricky. So what a shield will do is, if you, let's say I had some major attack against this Junk Golem. I was able to get my attack strength up to 20, and I would totally destroy him. Because he has a shield, any amount of damage he takes, it could be 10, it could be 100. All of it gets reduced down to only taking 5 damage, and then the shield is removed. So essentially, if you have a shield, you won't take more than 5 damage. But once you take that damage and attribute it to the shield, then the shield is removed. Okay, so it gets a shield. Good job, Junk Golem, I suppose. All right, but I still get to use the Mage Stone Alchemy to decide what I'm going to destroy, and I'm going to destroy its legs. That way, its legs have the most metal, and because this is not an attack, it's just an Amplify effect. The only way, NPCs can't do this, but the only way a player, let's say we're fighting the Warlord, the only way a player could stop an Amplify effect from affecting them is with a Not Today card. They could play the Not Today Amplify effect, and that could stop another Amplify card. But in this case, I'm not doing that. I'm going to destroy this limb, so all the metal goes away. They can't do anything to block it otherwise because they don't have a Not Today card. Even if they did, NPCs can't use Amplify effects. They only use the cards as their potions. All right, so this is destroyed, but part of the effect is now this Junk Golem gets to roll, and we roll for it, obviously, for how many potions it will get from the Magestone Alchemy. And it gets 3 potions. Not the best of hope for not. So now it really is a bit tough here. It not only has a shield, but it has 4 potions. So this is gonna be tricky to deal with. That's okay though. All right, so that was Riviera's turn. Not as successful as I think anyone would have liked, but that's okay. Now we're to Hobart's turn. So Hobart has a couple for his amplifies. He could do Fairy Aid, and that would restore the base metal +1 of all limbs or allies' limbs. So I could do that over to Riviera. I feel like that would increase all her abilities to 1. But I think what I'm gonna do instead is, yes, I'll do this. This is only, I was gonna do System Purge, which removes all disables and negative charges from your Juggernaut. I was thinking, I could do that to Riviera, but amplify effects, unless they say you could do it for an ally, you can only do it for yourself. So it will say whether or not you can do it for someone else. If it doesn't say, it means it's only for you. So System Purge, I have nothing disabled, so it would not make sense for me to do this one. However, it might make sense for me to do it because then what would happen is I would get to roll 2 dice because I'm the Wind Mageneer over here as Hobart, and I have 1 wind limb. Riviera, well, she'd only get to roll 1, and if she rolls another 1, she has to disable another one. I was thinking 2, but because her left arm, that wind 3, is disabled, it does not count for amplify rolls. And on top of that, our lucky Junk Golem here, who is a wind Junk Golem, he would also get to roll 1. So I don't think I want to use either amplify effect. I just realized I did my amplify effect with Riviera, but I never attacked. I never took my action. So amplify, you can use an amplify card like I did, but you don't have to. After you do your amplify though, then you take an action. So we rolled for everyone. Now we are back to Riviera taking an action. So the actions Riviera currently has accessible to her are the ones listed in her card. She can do a total attack, which is essentially you deduct your attack strength from the defender. So this little shield is the defender icon. The defender's metal minus attacker, who's you, attack strength. So the sword means attacker, and the little fist is attack strength. So this is essentially wherever your attack strength is. Again, that's up on the top of your board. It's your 2 arms added together plus any other amplify modifiers you have gone. That's your attack strength. You're going to reduce that from the defender's model. So that's total attack. And when you do that, it comes off from an NPC. It comes off just starting with the legs and then goes clockwise. If you're hitting another player or being hit by an NPC as a player, then you get to determine where the metal comes off. Okay, so total attack. Could also do a targeted attack where you choose a limb of the defender. Let's say I target this Junk Golem's left arm. Okay, I say that, and then I'm going to reduce that limb's metal by attacker's attack strength, by my attack strength, adjusted by 1d6. I'm going to roll, and if I roll a 1, I miss. I completely miss the attack. My action's over. If I get a 2 through a 5, I do my normal attack strength. If I roll a 6, my attack strength is doubled. So that's what target attack is. Focus charge does not come into effect right now because we have no charges. Hobart does have a charge, but it's not his turn now. So if I think though Riviera's probably going to defeat this Junk Golem now, but we'll see. All right, so we're going to go ahead and do a total attack with Riviera. Her current attack strength, because of the disable, is only 5, but, it's only 5. So we're going to do a total attack onto the Junk Golem. All right, and so as the defender as the NPC defender, the Junk Golem will go through several different if this then that for how it will defend, how it will react, what reaction it will take to one of your attacks. And it's laid out in the rules what it will do. So real quick, first off, if the NPC defender will take it will take the first achievable reaction from the list below. So if it has a shield, use a shield for a melee loss over 5. It does not have melee loss over 5 because I'm only attacking for 5 strength. So that one does not count. Then dispel with a potion to begin the dispel overpower contest. All right, we have a potion, so we will use the potion. So let's start that. So we'll pay 1 potion the NPC will pay 1 potion to dispel. All right, so now we move our dispel overpower contest potion up 1. So now if Riviera wanted to overpower that dispel, she would have to pay 1 potion. She currently has no potions in her potion bag, and the only potions she really has available are on this really awesome 5/10 card up here. She has 3 potions. If she were to spend this, it would use all of the potions, not just one of them. So probably not a good wise use of this card at this point. So because of that, she will do no damage. The potion was able to dispel the action of the attack, and now Riviera is done. So now we are back to Hobart. Again, not going to use any of the Amplify cards that Hobart has available. We're just going to attack, and it seems like we need to bleed this character from potions or get the shield off. So what we'll do is we will do a total attack. We're not going to amplify. We'll go right to our actions. Hobart has the same actions as Riviera. All the actions of the Mageneers, the base actions, are the same. There's total attack, target attack, focus charge. Actually, now that I think about it, what I will do is I will do a focus charge with Hobart, and I will put the charge, because this guy's immune to shock effects, which is what this is. This would be a shock effect if I were able to get it on him. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to put it on my Juggernaut torso. And now, because of that, essentially what happens is my every limb I have acts as essentially a boost of 1 for each charge I have. So put another way, if I have 1 charge here, and I get +1 attack strength for each arm I have. So right now I have, I don't know why that's there. Right now I have an attack strength of 3 + 4, so 7. So with this 1 charge, I now have an attack strength of 9. So 7 + 1 + 1. So it's just a multiplier. Each one is a multiplier for your attack strength and also your speed. Currently my speed is 6 + 4, so 10. Now because of this, my speed during this combat is 12. It increases it by number of charges times each limb. That's a better way to put it. So if I had 2 charges, say, then I would add 2 to the value of each limb for its combat attribute. So if I have 2 charges here, then this arm, which is currently at 3, acts as 5. 3 + 2 is 5. This one that's at 4 would act as 6. So essentially I have instead of a attack strength of 7, I now have an attack strength of 7 + 4, which would be 11. Now, let's say I was in Riviera's case and had one of these disabled, like one of my arms disabled. Then it is only multiplied by 1. So now we have 2 added to this one. So this would essentially, instead of 3, be 5, but then that's my attack strength. I don't get the addition of this one, of these boosts from this arm. It's like the magic is boosting up whichever limbs are active or available. If a limb isn't active or available, it's not going to, the boost doesn't go into that at all. So likewise, these 2 would be added to each leg. So this leg's boosted by 2 and this leg's boosted by 2. So my speed is increased by 4. So we got currently 6 + 4, 10. So our boosted speed would be 14. All right. So I am going to, because I have that charge available, because Hobart starts with a charge. I'm going to focus charge. That's this, and we'll go over that right now. So focus charge, activate available shock charges on my on your Juggernaut. Well, come on. There you go. On your activate available shock charges on Juggernaut or arms. I activated them by putting it on my Juggernaut. I could also put it on my arms, in either arm, so you could do a max of 2 there. Or you could return any positive or negative charges to Hobart. Negative charges, if like it's on the Junk Golem, I could return them to me by just doing a focus charge also. All right, so we did a focus charge for Hobart. That's his whole turn though. Now Hobart is done. And something I did neglect to do is to know who the attacker is. We have this Sandy, so it would have started with Riviera, then Hobart, and now it is to the Junk Golem. So he gets to go first. So when the Junk Golem gets to go, again, you can reference this. I tend to know it by heart, but if you need to reference it in the combat steps, you can do that for the turn order for the NPC. So something to keep in mind is if what the NPC does contextually is based on whether one or two is based on how much metal is in their arms. So if there is metal in the NPC's arms, right now it has 2 metal. And then I'll do this top section. If it doesn't have any, it does this bottom section, which is essentially it's going to ram you, destroy itself in the process, but do damage to you. But right now it has metal. It has no legs, so it can't ram us. All right, so what it's going to do is, based on what the Warlord power multiplier is, which currently it's set to 1, it's going to do that corresponding action. It's going to select that corresponding action selection. So for a selection 1, it's going to try to renew if disabled, and it has potions. It has potions, but none of its limbs are disabled. This is destroyed, which is not disabled. Okay, so it's going to try, if it can't do that, which it can't do, because right now it would start at the 1, it will just do a total attack instead. So much like what the Mageneers would do, it'll do a total attack. So then the total attack for this Junk Golem is 2, so 1 plus 2, and who the Junk Golem attacks will be the last opposer, the last attacker to have taken an action. So that would be Hobart. Even though his action didn't affect the Junk Golem, it's still, they're the last one to have taken an action. So it's going to attack Hobart with his 2 attack strength. Now we get into your player reactions. So players have several reactions out of just that they start off with. Their first one is Dispel. That's much like what the Junk Golem did, is you use a potion, you pay a potion, and you cancel the action, and that starts the Dispel Overpower contest down here. We have no potion. Oh, and I should take this off because we're not actually disabled. We could use our potions on either this card for Fairy Aid or on System Purge. I'm not going to do that, so because I want to reserve these cards. So if I'm not willing to do that and I have no other potions in my potion bag, then I could also do Speed Block. What Speed Block is if Defender, I'm the Defender, if my speed is greater than the attacker's speed, then the Defender's metal, since I'm defending, is unaltered, but I have to disable Defender's highest metal limb. So I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to Speed Block, which means even though it's 2 damage, okay, well, I'll show you what that would be like. I think what we'll end up doing though is this counterattack action. So if we were to do Speed Block though, currently the speed of the attacker is 0 because we destroyed its legs. My speed, now boosted, is 12. So my speed is much higher than the attacker's. I'm the defender right now because I'm being attacked. So, and I'm doing a reaction. So I could just take essentially no damage, no loss of metal, but I'd have to disable my highest metal limb. Right now, my highest metal limb is my left leg, so I'd have to disable that. However, I also have one more option, and that is counter attack. So how counter attack works is the attacker's mel will take -3 per positive charge on your Juggernaut, and then return the positive charge to owners. Right now I have a positive charge of 1. That means I would take the 2 damage, because I'm only getting hit by 2. If I take the 2 damage, then I would use this charge that's on my Juggernaut as a counter attack, and it would act as -3 against the Junk Golem, or against the Junk Golem. I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So we'll do the counterattack. So this will come off my Juggernaut, go back onto my Hobart player board. I will take the 2 damage. I'll take it to this leg. 1, 2 down. All right, that's now down 2. So now my speed is 4 plus 4, 8. Now the Junk Golem will, because if you ever have a reaction that damages you or damages the attacker, they are able to dispel that. And so that is what the Junk Golem will do. They will dispel that damage. Right now, you may be asking, so why did you waste your focus charge? Well, I'm trying to bleed this Junk Golem from its potions right now, because that's kind of annoying that I'm having to go through these potions. So I'm bleeding the potions of the Junk Golem. All right. So this pushes the Dispel Overpower contest up 1. I do not have any potions. I'm not going to, I do have the 2 potions in my cards, but I don't, if I burn those potions, I burn the whole card. And I'm not ready to give up these cards for this combat. All right, so we've burned 1 potion. That was the attack to me. I counterattacked to the Junk Golem. He dispelled that attack, so he takes no damage, and I only took 2 damage out of the deal, which isn't terrible. All right, now the Junk Golem's turn is done. We go back to Riviera. So Riviera cannot use this card again because it's used up. She does still have this Not Today card. I'm not going to use that right now. Her main things that she could do is just a total attack. So that's what I'm going to do. A total attack with her attack strength of 5. So again, we're just bleeding potions off this Junk Golem because attack strength of 5 is not greater. Otherwise, it would trigger the shield. But it's not, so it's going to take the potion off. Move this. I didn't reset this. Move this up to 1. I'm not going to pay a potion, so it gets reset. The Junk Golem won the contest, so it gets no damage done to it. All right. So that's the end of Riviera's turn. So now we're going to be going a little quicker now that we're not explaining each step. Hobart is likewise going to go. I think now Hobart is going to do... he's going to get attacked again. I think, though, I don't want to take the... actually, here's what I'll do. I will attack for my attack strength. Well, I'll just do a total attack strength of 3 plus 4, 7. Against the Junk Golem. So heal 7 will trigger the shield. So I'll take the shield, and because you only get 1 reaction, unless you have a specializations, which are up here. I think there may be a specialization that allows you to take 2 reactions, but because you can only take 1 reaction, which they'll use the shield, that reduces their damage from 7 to 5. The 5 damage is going to get distributed 1, 2, that's to the 2 mel, and then 3, 4, because while the limbs may not have metal, they still sort of exist. They're almost like this hunk of like an arm or a leg that's there, but has no power to it, or there's no blood flow or magic to it. It's still there, but if it gets hit again, if there's no power going to it, it is destroyed. And so now that those are both gone, it's destroyed. So that's 4, then the extra 5 damage just goes nowhere. So we have defeated this Swift Junk Golem. I like doing the sound of but just make that, think of like a 16-bit explosion in your mind, if you will. Anyway, so that is the Junk Golem. Any extra potions go back. So we're going to take these two disables. We're going to put it back on the stack. And then, so we just defeated the Junk Golem. Awesome. Now we're going to go through all the steps for combat wrap-up. And again, that's once you've defeated a foe, you go to the relevant combat wrap-up. This one will be for the Junk Golem. So we're just going to go through this. The player that dealt the final blow is the Slayer of the Junk Golem, so that would be Hobart, because his attack went through the shield and the rest went off and did damage. Yep, did the damage. So essentially the shield only absorbed 2 damage, which wasn't enough to save it. All right, so then so Hobart is the Slayer, and all players who reduce the Junk Golem's metal, they both did that. Both Riviera with her Mage Stone Alchemy reduced the metal of the leg, and Hobart reduced the rest of the metal. So they both receive a heroic feat. Awesome. So we talked about in the previous video which specializations the characters were going to go for, and so Hobart gets to go first because he slayed the Junk Golem. So he is going to pick, I believe he was going to go for the Barbarian specialization. And if you want to know more about specializations, I'm not going to go into them. We have a video that goes into each one of these abilities, how what you need to be able to use them, etc., etc. For now, I think I'm going to go ahead and go into, excuse me, the Barbarian specialization. So essentially, just a real quick recap. Every time you get a heroic feat, you're going to get these middle sections. And to get these abilities, you need to have these elements in your Juggernaut. So right now, with my Juggernaut, I essentially meet the qualifications for the level 1, because I have a fire. This level 2, because I have a wind and 2 fire. And this level 2, because I have 2 fire and a earth. I, however, do not meet the qualifications for either of these 2 at the top. But we're only on, we've only done 1 heroic feat, so we only get this first level. So we are going to tuck that in underneath our hero. And for the heroic feat bonus, we get +2 metals. So we will get to add metal back into our Juggernaut, and we'll just add it in right there. And then for Riviera, she was going to go for, I believe, I think she was going to go for the Commodore specialization. So that will get tucked in right there. And her bonus for that is she gets a charge, and she gets 2 potions. So you take them from the disable. Do not take potions from the corruption, because again, those count as like a timer down to the Warlord. You would only get to use the corruption on the potion on the corruption side if you take corruption off the board and then you purify it at Ashley's Haberdashery or Eldrick & Arc or at Seneschal when it's open. Alright, so she gets 2 potions. Put those in her potion bag. Alright, so we did our specializations. Fantastic. Now we have extra abilities that each of these characters can use. Next, we're going to distribute the loot. So the Slayer gets to distribute the loot of the buy. So essentially what the loot entails is whatever potions are left. So whatever potions the Junk Golem started with, that's how many potions they'll get to have for loot. Then you can flip these cards over and you'll get to pick one of them to go to either player or any of the people that were involved in the combat. So I think Hobart's going to be a little selfish and is going to take the Mage Stone Alchemy Wind card. So he's going to take that. Now he is at his limit of 3 cards in hand. Now, These cards do not include quest cards. I didn't make that clear the last time. But because he only has 3 available charge slots, that is the same as his available hand limit. Now he's at his hand limit. So if he takes any more power cards, he would have to discard one of these or junk one of them to get the new one. So now he has 3 cards. And then he's going to give Riviera 1 more potion. The potion, and then and I think he's also going to give Riviera the body, which essentially gives the Junk Golem body, which gives Riviera this Victor's Boon of owner keeps their quests open when fighting a Junk Golem. So that time last time when Riviera had this quest, but because she came and was going to fight this Junk Golem, she's like, okay, I'll just take the B option. Now, if she had this Victor's Boon, she would have been able to keep this quest open to her and still be in the fight. So that is her Victor's Boon. Slide that under her board. All right, so now we've done all the loot, and the remaining 2 limbs. If these are both essentially equal power, if one of them was higher, they would go into the Warlord build pile. Because they're the same, you're just going to turn them over and randomly shuffle them, and then put 1 underneath, and 1 goes into the junk pile. All right, so that's all the loot. Finally, we are going to read for the first 2 Junk Golem Junk Golem defeats. You're going to go into, well, here's what happens when you find and this is part of finding the Warlord's lair. So first you're going to read Story Moment 1, which is in the Story Moment section. So that goes, after successfully setting up camp, you notice something strange in the path ahead. You leave your troop and Juggernaut to investigate, to your prospering or peril. And then what you're going to do is all players, when not playing solo, and we're simulating a 2-player game here, draw from the Warlord stack. All right, so I'm going to draw. This one is going to be Hobart's, and this one is going to be Riviera's. All right, and those just go into your hands. And I'm going to flip them over. Pause the video and guess who is becoming the Warlord. I'm going to flip them over, and you'll be able to see here in a second. But guess who you think the Warlord will be. So pause and put in your guesses, and then. Okay, are you back? All right, we're going to see who ended up being the Warlord. I just have a sense it's Hobart, but we'll see. No, it's not Hobart. So he gets another card, which means he has to discard, and Riviera is the Warlord's acolyte. But she's keeping this secret for now, so Hobart doesn't know. Well, in a 2-player game, you sort of, by process of elimination, you know who is going to be the Warlord, but in a 3-player or 4-player game, you don't know. All right, because of this, I like the Drums of War, but I think I like Drums of War more than I like Fairy Aid. Plus, it's 2 potions, so I'm going to get rid of Fairy Aid. So again, keep it into 3. So the other card just goes in the junk pile. All right. So now we have a secret Warlord Acolyte playing against the Mageneer, and neither of them have corruption yet. So the Warlord's going to stay with Riviera for now, unless Hobart gets corruption and then they pass one another or end up being on the same spot. Now what's going to happen is if you follow the steps under here, it says all draw from the Warlord stack. We did that. Mark cleared. So we're going to take one of our clear cubes, mark this cleared, and we're going to remove one of these from Seneschal, one of the gates. So you can use that as a potion if you need an extra potion. So now there's only 3 gates, so you can't move through Seneschal right now. You can't move to it or through it. So, but once you've done 4, either completed quests heroically or defeated the Junk Golems, a sum of 4 of those of any amount will clear the Seneschal gates. And we will move the Warlord Power Multiplier up to 2. So that's all that we're going to be able to do for today. We did combat. We defeated that pesky Junk Golem. Man, I was not expecting that fight to last like it did. Right? Getting all those potions and Riviera getting disabled. Oh, that is one last thing, is that any disables during combat come off. from your body, and any used cards go back into your hand. So this Mage Stone Alchemy card that Riviera had is now back to be able to use. So thank you for watching. We will probably, unfortunately, not be able to continue this particular game. I'm going to have to pack this up, but we will be back with more content, especially if we can go through. Patrolling the Bounds is very similar to Junk Golem combat. It's just essentially you fight a creature that looks something like this. You draw 2 cards, a top one and a bottom one. This would be an insanely tough Patrolling the Bounds. This is a lightning harpy that you'd have to fight. Because it has because the arms and legs match, they would get their upgrade amount. So it has attack strength of 9 and speed of 8, and because the Warlord power multiplier is at 2, they'd be doubled. So this would have an attack strength of 18 and a speed of 16. So that's insane. I'm so glad we did actually get that, because that would have been quite the battle in of itself. But so that'd be Patrolling the Bounds, is fighting a beast like that. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think with this though, you pretty much have all you need to continue your journey through a Galmony, trying to find the Warlord by defeating the rest. Every city you defeat after the first one, you have the opportunity to roll to find the lair. So let's say we come over here and defeat Headstone, and we roll. If we rolled a 1, we would find the Warlord. If we didn't find it, because we rolled a 3, we'd go to the next one, and then we get to roll 2 dice. If we roll a 2, we'd find it. We don't. Then at the last city, we roll 3 dice, and if we roll a 3, which we didn't do, then the Warlord will appear. We'll all get transported to Seneschal and fight the Warlord there, but they will get to attack first. Otherwise, if we did find the Warlord, let's say we did roll a 3, then that would mean the Warlord's lair is at that city where we rolled it correctly, and then the Mageneers get to fight the Warlord first. And then the Warlord would flip over. It's on the back of these sides. You flip over, put your limbs in, etc. But I think that is a good place to stop. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions or would like one aspect of this, a video just on one aspect of this that we haven't covered here or in previous videos, let me know. Would love to know that. Let me know if you guessed right over who was going to end up being the Warlord. And thank you so much for watching. Look forward to getting to hearing what stories, what adventures you have in Galmony. But for now, remember, I'm not the Warlord. Godspeed, Mageneers. Bye.